Well, hi again, everybody. It's me, Mitch, and this is part two, a follow-up to the video I released yesterday, where I kind of ranted about the reasons why we most often fail in trying to change our lives and cure our lifelong addictions. In that video, I said there was a second reason. I'm going to talk about that right now. This additional reason applies not only to the first 30 days, it not only applies to the time while we're trying to become fat adapted. For my life, I've adopted this as a lifelong rule because I know the pitfalls. What I'm talking about is the tendency to try to hang on to the activities and the foods associated with those activities that we think we need in life to be fulfilled, because that's what we're used to. Our lives are built, whether we like to think so or not, they're built around our addiction. Virtually everything we do, everything I did in my pre-carnivore life was tied to those addictive foods in one way or another. My entire social life, dating life, family life, entertainment life, everything in my life had an associated food with it. If I went to a movie, it wasn't a movie without popcorn. If I went to a party, what kind of party would it be unless there was a constant supply of food and drink? If I went to a sporting event, I couldn't watch a baseball game without some hot dogs, French fries, casual night with friends, have a pizza delivered. It's part of it. It's part of it. And like any other addiction, the activities associated with that addiction perpetuate the addiction. We don't consciously think that's what we're doing, but we are. We are perpetuating the addiction. And the act of eating that food keeps the addiction alive and at the forefront of our brain when we're trying to get our brain to forget about that. This is true for all addictions, and especially for carb addictions, considering that I feel it's the most addictive thing, that substance that we can have, and it's our oldest addiction. And it goes, I would say, without saying, that to rid yourself of that addiction, the ideal situation would be you have to give up all that stuff in your life associated with that addiction. And that just literally scares us to death. I can't give up my friends. I can't give up dating. I can't give up parties. I can't give up my entire social life. How could I ever do that? How can I break that association when it's just who I am and what I'm used to? And that thought of that, the thought of having to do that, is what scares everybody away from this lifestyle and makes people think that it's stupid. Yet there's a way you can do it. There's a way you can do it. And there's something that you do that we perpetuate constantly that is completely all over the social media channels, the YouTube channels, and all of these other people out there. Excuse me while I make my afternoon cup of decaffeinated coffee. It's all over everywhere. And what I'm talking about are those people proposing that pizza, bread, cheesecake, donuts, cookies, and all the other things that mean carbs to our brains are okay if you make them low carb. So, you don't believe me? You go to YouTube. Do a search for carnivore pizza, carnivore bread, carnivore mashed potatoes. You'll find hundreds of videos. And that's just carnivore. With keto, not only do we do it to ourselves, the influencers that are trying to help you get healthier, telling you how to make carnivore cookies, but the big companies have now latched on like they always do because they see a little profit in it, and they're selling all of the same garbage with the words keto all over the label. And we're going out there and buying this crap and eating it in mass quantities, wondering why the hell we keep falling off our diet and going on carb binges. Do any of us ever even stop to think about why that's happening to us? Or do we just say, I must be doing something wrong? Again, there's the theme that I keep talking about. Understand the why. And the why is pizza is pizza in your head. Whether that pizza contains lots of carbs in the form of flour in the dough, or it contains almond flour or some other ingredient to mimic dough, cauliflower, whatever their miracle recipe for carnivore pizza dough is, your brain and your mind anticipate the taste of the pizza, the experience of eating the pizza, the comfort that you've always gotten from whatever activity you were doing that you associated with that pizza. And if you stop and think about it, it's not even really about pizza. It's about all the things that our brains associate with the eating of pizza. But you're convinced because some guru told you, or some clever marketing guy at a big food company that's manufacturing keto-friendly pizzas now. You think it's okay. It's keto-friendly. It's not going to hurt me. And you go after it. And you eat that pizza. But you don't just eat it. You have to make it. So hours of your day are spent concentrating on the thing you're addicted to. Not only trying to get that thought out of your head, but filling your head with that thought and the activity of making that pizza, of anticipating the pleasure you're going to get from eating that pizza. And you finally get to the point where your mouth is watering and you're watching the countdown timer on the oven as the pizza gets done, and you just can't wait, and you dive into that thing your brain has started a cascade of chemical things going on in your body, anticipating the sugar rush that it's going to get from that. Because it doesn't know that that pizza doesn't have sugar in it. It just knows from the past 50 years of eating pizza that pizza has sugar in it. So it dumps insulin in your bloodstream. Your digestive cycle starts to ramp up, start secreting stomach acid, all the things necessary to get your body ready for the ecstasy that's about to follow. And you eat the pizza, and there's something different about it. It's just not as satisfying as you thought it was going to be. Maybe it tastes a little off because cauliflower doesn't taste like regular pizza crust, or something's different about it. And you're a little disappointed, but unfortunately, your subconscious mind is screaming, "Idiot! Where's the sugar? Where is the sugar? We have just gotten your entire physiology ready to handle this humongous load of sugar you're about to dump on us. We've put all that insulin in your bloodstream. There is no sugar. This insulin has to do something, and it's going to start taking what blood sugar you have and cramming it into your cells, thereby, if you don't do something about it quick, rendering you hypoglycemic on death's door. We have to do something." And your subconscious, as it knows how to do, compels you to eat sugar. But the craving you get at that point is unlike any of these other cravings. You cannot resist. Your survival depends on it. Your subconscious mind knows that. But in your conscious mind, you were just going to eat some pizza and it was okay because so-and-so on YouTube told you that it had no sugar in it. It's a destructive thing to do. It brings back addictions that you've worked so hard to bury. It goes against the advice of people who tell you that even when you finally become a carnivore, you can experiment and start adding back in those foods. And you and me think that the first introduction again to a habit or a food that we worked so hard to get rid of won't bring it back full blast. If you think that that's possible without ramifications, find an alcoholic who has been on the wagon for 10 years, who fell off the wagon. Ask him why. More than likely, you'll get a story. And that story will go like this. I tortured myself to give up alcohol. It was the hardest thing I ever did in my life. I went to AA meetings 3 times a week for 10 years. I got my tokens. I was so proud of those, but it was always a struggle. And I figured that after 10 years, I was at a party and somebody said, "One little drink won't hurt you." And I let them talk me into having one little taste. And now I'm back to square one. That one little taste led to one bottle, which led to a binge that lasted for months. And now I'm going through exactly the same thing I went through before. And if you don't think that that won't happen to you with food, you're mistaken. It would happen with any addictive substance. Only compared to alcohol, sugar addiction is the granddaddy of addictions. I know this not because I was an alcoholic, but I did go through this God knows how many times in my lifetime after successfully losing weight, thinking it was okay for me to just have a little bit of that stuff I had to give up. Ironically, I didn't even really want it. Somewhere in one of my memories, there may have been some remembrance of the pleasure I got from it. Normally, when I did reintroduce whatever it was disappointing. You know, sometimes the actual reward doesn't actually live up to the anticipation of the reward. So, along with how to survive the first 30 days, along with staying off the scale, two of my own personal key must-dos, and I'm calling this my method of carnivore. The third is never, 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 ever try to duplicate any food that you once were addicted to after you have become a carnivore and you can live without those foods. Never make low carb anything. You are a carnivore now. You eat no carbs. You eat nothing that looks like it contains carbs. You may think you're fooling your subconscious, but that includes diet sodas and everything, and especially something that has a sweet taste, may be the single most destructive thing. That means you don't use artificial sweeteners anymore either. If you were an alcoholic, you might think you can drink non-alcoholic beer, but if it tastes like beer, it won't be long before you're drinking real beer again. Your subconscious will make you do it. It's not as bad as you think, because if you do manage to get on this and get yourself fat adapted and keep up this lifestyle for a while, the importance of all that crap that you used to eat will go from one of wild anticipation to one of, ooh, I can't believe I ever ate that crap. But that's a physiological change. It takes a little time, and you have to tough that part out. It's not hard once you pass the first 30 days. But eating low carb versions of high carb foods will never let you get your cravings for that stuff and the memories of eating that stuff out of your head. Even thinking about it is destructive. It's easy to forget about that stuff. Don't do the things that remind you of them. When you see a video on your YouTube feed that says low carb pizza, carnivore pizza, don't watch it. Stay away from it. Sounds crazy, but it is the key to sustaining. It's easy, although you might not believe it. It will happen to you. Just watch out for the traps. And that's the second thing that I think ranks at the top of the list of how to regain your health, normalize your weight, cure all your blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, any other chronic disease problems, and maintain that for the rest of your life. And I challenge you to do what I'm suggesting and prove me wrong. That's a bet that I'll take. So I hope you understand exactly what I'm talking about and why it matters so much. And if you do, or even if you don't, take the rest of the day off. Eat meat.